Straight into the autObarn Superhatch combined with 111 Sports and Saloons brings us 47 cars on the grid.
Deep breath, Greg. Deep breath.
Well, I think it's going to be interesting because with 47 cars on the grid, you've got to try and find your way through to beat out your usual contenders. And that's exactly what Lucas Poseidon is going to be looking to do here on board the Pretoria Toyota as we head down towards turn one. And he's already being given a bit of a run there by the fastest mom in the world, Verity Anjube.
They are so lucky that Toby Fenta has built this racetrack as wide as it is, because they're going to need every single piece of tarmac that they can get. Going into turn one, they're keeping it all neat and tidy for now. But Lucas Poseidon and George Poseidon just sidling in second place there. But believe it or not, it is the VW out front. That's Louis Cloutier. Oh, already an incident going into turn number one.
Malsberg got a fantastic start. Can you believe that in the GNH Transport Polo? And unfortunately, going into turn one, Rayha van Heerden just came through and tagged the back end of her and spun her around. She's got a huge amount of work to do now. And speaking of work to do, have a look at Cloutier going defensive. Stock standard Beetle, that, eh?
No, but doesn't that just look like a complete mismatch there? That's the beauty about this category. You can bring literally whatever you want, whatever you have. And Poseidon at the moment trying to find a way past that VW Beetle. I think he's rubbing his eyes at the moment, just quite not believing that it is a VW Beetle that is ahead of him and leading this race.
Well, listen, it is a 2.4 twin turbo that's in front of him, so it's a bit difficult to try and run with that one. It's not quite the stock standard Beetle that we always joke about. In the mid-pack, you can see them all starting to sort things out there. Remember, this is 111 cars fighting in amongst the autObarn Superhatch cars. So not only are you fighting with your normal contenders, which of course Mel will be looking to do to try and make her way through, and in fact, Mel has just gone 3 seconds quicker than her lap times before. So I think Nathan might be having a chat to her saying, hang on a second, how did that work? You get turned around, you get cross, and now you start putting in lap times that are worth that car.
On board here with Brett Garland going through the S's. He's in the autObarn Honda Civic there, and he's the first of the Superhatch cars, running down in about 6th or 7th place at the moment. But that battle out front is starting to heat up now. Poseidon right in the slipstream down the straight.
The one thing we're going to take into account here, Rob, is we see a little bit further back, there's some fighting happening, Wouter Roos, and it looks like Zane van Zyl having a bit of a ding-dong there. But the one thing I'm going to say is, with those quicker cars coming through, 47 cars, and it's only a 7-lap race, eventually we're going to see some back markers coming into play. Louis Cloutier has been outgunned slightly there by Poseidon as they go into Crowthorne. He tries to come back at him. He's going to be able to make it stick. No, they're still side by side. They go through Yuxke up towards Barbecue. Oh, brilliant stuff. Poseidon eventually gets through, but as these guys start to come in amongst traffic, keep an eye out on how the other cars are going to start to close them down.
Yeah, they're about 10 or 15 seconds quicker than these guys coming onto the front straight now. And Lady, of course, that is Malsberg, making her way through the field there. That car 64 is on a rampage now. She's already got up into the top 30, so potentially after that turn one incident, could find herself in the top 25, which would be brilliant to see. But that man there in the VW losing track now of Poseidon out front.
Troy Murray applying the pressure onto the back end of the Opel Kadett, and you can see Murray in the GNH Transport Z1 just on the back end right now, looking for a chance. And remember, he comes from a supermoto background. Cloutier with problems, slowing down slightly, so the Beetle seems to have a bit of an issue and might just have to pull into pit lane.
So that has left Lucas Poseidon out front now, but like you said, Greg, the back markers could still come into play. Kevin Miller now promoted up into that top 3, but he's got a lot of pressure just behind him there from Brent Henshaw.
And Verity Anjube, Philip Eminis coming through there. Problems on the side for the low-pick Opel, unfortunately pulling to the sideline. That's not quite where you want to be finishing the race. There you can see cars coming through slowly but surely. Louis Scholz starting to make his way up. I think he's sitting in about 2nd place in Class B. He's just ahead of Dutoy, who's had a bit of a nightmare out there. Not quite the race that Jonathan Dutoy wanted, and battled to get through the traffic of the 111s. And speaking of traffic, wow, it's affected Lucas Poseidon. George Poseidon has found his way through the traffic and got through on the Pretoria Nordman. So the Nissan is going to beat the Toyota to the line by the looks of things. Yes, it is. The flag is waiting. Oh, Lucas is going to be kicking himself. He's got the drive, he's got the ability, and across the line, oh, he just loses out. Can you believe that? By 0.03 of a second. Incredible race to the line there. Poseidon beating Poseidon. George ahead of Lucas. Kevin Miller in the Ford. There in 3rd place, beating Henshaw and Verity Anjube. Brett Garland wins out the Superhatch ahead of Stoltz, van Zyl, Davidson and Nick Martin. Let's catch up with Lucas Poseidon.
I was leading about halfway through the race, and then I got caught up in slow traffic. So the 3rd guy caught up to me. I think George just pipped me to the line. And that was still a good result for me.
Great result for the autObarn Superhatch man, Brett Garland.
At the end, we evened out, and there was no Class A cars in sight. So a good race for me, good race for the sponsors. Back in the championship fight with Jono. So I'm very proud, and just thank all my sponsors for getting me here today.
Thanks for all the great action from all the categories here at the Motorsport Festival. Penultimate round of the Extreme Festival. The final is on the 25th of November. Join us at Zwartkops to see all of the championships wrapped up. All this action proudly brought to you by G&H Transport, Investchem Chemical Logistics, Armada, and autObarn.